Welcome to your Daily Writing Habit, episode number 417. If you're writing a book or thinking about it or trying to finish a book you've started or needing some help to promote your book, you are in the right place. Good morning, happy Monday, happy June. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh, also known as Christine Inc., I-N-K, christine-inc.com. Each day I'm sharing with you the writing habits I've learned over my 18 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular have a huge impact on your success as an author, and they have the ability to turn a quote-unquote non-author into a published book author. Those three things are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. Here's today's quote. What an astonishing thing a book is. It's a flat object made from a tree with flexible parts on which are imprinted lots of funny dark squiggles. But one glance at it and you're inside the mind of another person, maybe somebody dead for thousands of years. Across the millennia, an author is speaking clearly and silently inside your head, directly to you. Writing is perhaps the greatest of human inventions. Binding together people who never knew each other, citizens of distant epochs, books break the shackles of time. A book is proof that humans are capable of working magic. Ah, I love that quote. That's by Carl Sagan, one of my favorite quotes. So once again, happy Monday. And what we do here on Monday on your daily writing habit is we look at my three pillars that I just listed a few moments ago: writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. Those of you who listen to the show regularly have probably regularly and very much memorized those three things, the three things that can determine an author's success and even turn a non-author into a published author. So every Monday, what I do is I offer a piece of advice or a strategy for each of those three areas. Here is today's writing fundamentals tip. When editing, and I'm talking about not writing your rough drafts, but actually like editing the parts of the book that you've already written, not necessarily the formal editing process, but when you're in your editing cave, when you have your editing hat on, here is one way to really elevate the level of your writing and make it a solid editing pass. So when you are going back and, say looking at a chapter that you've done a draft of and it's time to do another revision of it, here's how you can really get the most bang for your buck for that editing pass. Look for words that don't need to be there. So tighten up your writing specifically by zeroing in on individual words rather than seeing the whole sentence or paragraph as one unit. Because when you're just reading sentences and paragraphs and, when we read, we see what we think we wrote, what we hope we wrote, and it's easy to not find any problems with it. It's easy not to see any actual errors or mistakes because you're just, flowing through, reading the sentence, reading the paragraph. But here's the thing, when you can switch your brain so that you're not just looking at your writing as one unit, as one sentence, as one paragraph, as one chapter, when you can really force yourself to zoom in and look at each word, examine each word, it's often easier to see which words are repetitive, which ones that really are killing the rhythm of the sentence, especially when you read out loud. If you're looking for some good sentence rhythms, some good, nice flow so that you can really, absorb your readers into your work, read your work out loud. You'll be able to instantly hear which words are killing the rhythm, which words are killing the emotion, the tension. Whatever you're trying to create with that sentence, if you read it out loud, you will be able to spot the words that are killing it. So there's today's writing fundamentals tip about unnecessary words. Here is today's productivity habit tip. Are you feeling like your writing has slowed down, like you're not feeling super creative or inspired by your writing lately? Get outside your comfort zone. And by that, I mean physically leave. Physically go write somewhere else, somewhere you've never been before, preferably. Coffee shop outside, just totally new location. I like doing this with coffee shops. There's so many coffee shops out there these days. You should always be able to find one that you've never been to. Because when you do this, when you put yourself in a new and unfamiliar place, your senses go into overdrive. They start taking in all the new information around you. Again, all of your senses, the smells, the sounds, the sights, everything. And this might actually sound distracting. It might be like, why would I want to do this when I'm supposed to focus on my writing? But here's the thing. I'm talking about if you're in a creative rut. So this is why you're doing this. So if you're in a creative rut, You need to stimulate your brain back into motion. So this might actually be a good thing to overwhelm it with new sensory experiences from a new place. It also might give you new ideas for people and places and smells and sounds and names and events and dialogue and all sorts of things. So if you're in a creative rut, shake yourself out of it by going somewhere new and letting your senses overwhelm you with new ideas. And finally, here's today's mindset habit tip. This is for those of you who are sharing about yourselves in your book in any sort of personal way, whether it's a memoir or simply a nonfiction book where you're inserting stories about yourself to make your points. If you're feeling egotistical in any way, writing about yourself, there's obviously a lot of advice I could give you because there are, of course, several distinctions between writing about yourself for egotistical reasons and doing it for altruistic ones. Obviously, the ones we talk about here on the show is writing about yourself to help others. But rather than going into all the different ways to tell the difference, here is something to remember, because I'm just going to assume that we're all writing about ourselves for good reasons, not bad reasons. So I'm going to start with that assumption. So here's something to remember when your inner voice is like, oh my God, does anyone actually care about this, or am I just being self-indulgent? And I just have one sentence that I want you to remember in those moments. Ready? Even when you're writing about you, you're writing for them. Might want to post that somewhere in your workspace. Even when you're writing about you, you're writing for them. And that wraps up this week's 3 Pillars episode. Hope you like this format, and thank you for joining me here on your daily writing habit, where I am helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. And if you know someone else who wants to write and finish writing an awesome book, I would love for you to let them know about this show. Very easy to do that. Send them to yourdailywritinghabit.com. Until tomorrow, happy writing.